Hi everyone, and welcome back to Cooking with Aunt Fuckhead. This is the second episode of my Just the Cooking series, where I'm doing my best to try and take a single stream with a single recipe and shorten it down into something that you guys can click back into whenever you need a refresher on a recipe or get curious about some detail that is linked to the cooking and the recipe itself. So without any further ado, here is taco salad, just the cooking.
We are making, so I'm actually using a real recipe from a real cookbook today, unlike my Post-it note tomato soup recipe from last week. So this is from America's Test Kitchen, the best 30-minute recipes cookbook. They have a ton of recipes that they've tested out. They've got some that are the best make ahead or the best 30-minute or the best, just really random ones, best for the Dutch oven kind of a thing. So we are making, it is technically the taco salad one, because I'm going to turn it into taco salad, but you could easily turn this into actual tacos because it's only a recipe for the meat. So I just have some ground beef, nothing super crazy fancy or anything like that, that I'll be grilling up. And I haven't even really thrown any on the food, but they're definitely starting to, there we go.
Throwing them on the
float. That's going to be my new tagline. I don't know if you guys have had a second to pop by the channel page for this YouTube account, but the only description that I have is first chop an onion, because that's what I've done the first 2 weeks. And I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have to update it so that it says first chop an onion and then throw some of it on the floor. Nothing but want to put a tablespoon of olive oil on it.
Do I have to use a spoon or anything, or can I just?
No, you can just.
Tablespoon?
Yeah. We are not baking.
Guesstimation.
So if we were baking, it would actually matter, and you would want to be precise, but we're not. So.
So who are these?
So let your girlfriends measure it, guys. I'm gonna heat the oil up. And I'm only going to use half the onion because I'm already over chopping onion. Okay, this is the biggest garlic clove I've ever seen in my life. So I'm supposed to use 4. Oh, this one's more normal. So I might use less than 4 if they're all super giant. But you can kind of never have enough garlic, so if you've never seen it before, this is a garlic press. You put the garlic in here and then squish it and it all comes out through the holes. This one is really, really heavy, so you could also use it as a weapon probably, or throw it at somebody. But I'm not going to do that today. So before you stick garlic through there, I cut both ends off just so that it has somewhere to squish out through when you squash it. So that's the only prep work that is necessary there. This is chili powder. So I'm supposed to use 2 tablespoons, but my tablespoon won't fit in the jar. So you can use, it's 3 teaspoons for you Americans to a tablespoon. So I'm just going to do math instead. So this is going to go in first and get started. Much less sizzle than last week. Because I didn't forget that I had the stove on this time, so we're learning. This is what it looks like so far. It's just chili powder, onion, and oil. When you guys are cooking with like chili powder, don't stick your face over the steam because then you end up inhaling chilies. So in goes the garlic until I can smell it. This is probably not why girls wear really large sunglasses, but it works out that I wear really large sunglasses for this reason, so. There we go.
How much garlic have you added?
Why? I've chased Indy out of the room. I've tossed beef everywhere. Do you want my sunglasses? So now that the beef is in there, it's going to go for about 6 minutes until it's brown. So when you have a fuck ton of chili powder, it's kind of hard to tell, when the beef is cooked because it kind of makes all of it look a little bit brown, which is why I'm using a timer instead of just eyeballing when it should be brown. Because usually I would just go, okay, yeah, this is cooked, and we go with it. But and at this point, we're pretty much just hanging out and waiting until it's done. And then we can add our final ingredient. And this one's actually a pretty quick recipe. The cookbook is quick 30-minute recipes, and it's usually 30 minutes when you include ingredient prep time. So in the amount of time it took me to chop that onion and do the garlic and all of that stuff, it's pretty much counting that in. So it's a pretty quick one. Okay, so now that the beef is done, our last step is 8 ounces of tomato sauce. So this is different. There's a ton of different canned tomato products out there. There's tomato paste, there's diced tomatoes, crushed tomatoes, whole tomatoes, tomato sauce. So there's like a ton of different ones. So I think I've used like 2 different ones because last week we used crushed tomatoes. So this week it's tomato sauce. It just gives it a little bit of a tomato flavor. So let me mix it all together and I'll show you guys what it looks like. So it looks like that. It's going to cook for another 2 minutes or so, and then it'll actually be done. So that's how super easy this recipe is. Really not very much to it. So once that's done, I'm going to start heating up oil. I'm going to try and make some tortilla chips on the stove. But as you can see behind me, I actually have tortilla chips just in case that goes very badly. Because you never know with me and oil. And that's done. So it's just going to hang out. I'm going to stir it again before I move it. But that's what it looks like. And then you would just use like a slotted spoon or whatever to actually serve it so you don't get quite as much liquid in your tacos, because that is a sure way of making the whole thing fall apart. So I just got these little tortilla dudes, nothing too big, and I'm just going to quarter them, maybe. Are these good chip size? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And yes, I am taking these are just little street tacos, flour, and I cut them in quarters. So I put a little bit of water in that, and then to see if it was hot, and it wasn't hot, but now that it's heating up, it's starting to like actually sizzle and go all over the kitchen. So I think I can probably start putting.
What I'm really good at is adding on hand gestures and faces.
Let's see if I can manage to do this without lighting my computer on fire. So they're just kind of hanging out in the oil. I have another compulsive stirrer. So last week it was me with all the stirring. Now it's her, which is all good. So over here I've got like a cooling rack that you would use for cookies if you've ever baked cookies, and some paper towel to soak up the excess oil, and then you can just plop the chips on them with hand gestures. So once these are done to everyone's satisfaction, so right now they're at like a crunchy but still kind of like soft in the middle. Like if you've ever had like taco salad in one of those big like shell bowls, they've kind of got that like flaky texture still, which I like, but they definitely aren't like the tortilla chips in the bag behind me. So I'm gonna fry them up a little bit more. Actually, I can probably turn the heat up, maybe light the kitchen on fire. You never know, anything's possible. Chips. I'm using flour tortillas because I kind of like the flakiness, but the food critic behind me that I can definitely see in the camera does not. So we have spare chips behind me in a bag, and we're going to be assembling as soon as these are done. What we have is a stack of chips that I will eat and Indy will not. And then finished taco meat.
Australia that we're going to watch Crikey is the Irwins.
Apparently we're going to watch Crikey, It's the Irwins. So that's a show.
It is a show.
That is on here. So that is actually pretty much, we're done cooking. So from here, it's just assembly taco assembly. So if you're making actual tacos out of this, it would just be a tortilla and then whatever taco fixings you like on top of the taco meat. Personally, I really like the sour cream, lettuce, and cheese combination. Also, there's this really great stuff that I don't know if you can get it outside the US, but it's Chipotle flavored Tabasco,
Okay, Sammy's
which is
idea of
great
killing it is
with stuff. Sorry for making everyone hungry, but not really sorry at all. Catch you later, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.
Hey guys, as that outro suggests, this is it for this episode. I've got a picture of the final product up on the screen for you guys. It is in salad form, but this recipe can be used for almost anything that you want because it's mostly just a recipe for the taco meat. Actually, a few days after I streamed this video, I used some of the leftovers in quesadillas, so really it can be put in just about anything. Um, Feel free to drop a comment down below telling me what you like or what you don't like, or if you have any questions about the video. There may be things on this from the stream that were missed. And if you've got any recipe suggestions or anything else you'd like to see me do here in one of these videos or on stream, there's a link to a Google form in the description where you can stick those. So, once again, thanks for tuning in to episode 2 of Just the Cooking. This has been Taco Salad on Cooking with Aunt Fuckhead. Have a good one.